So, chapter number 5, lines and angles, which is very important chapter. Dear student, as you have studied about these two terms from last 4 to 5 years, you have got its idea nicely in your mind, and it's a property also you have studied nicely. But dear student, I damn sure somewhere somehow you missed some important points that you recall. It's very important. With that intention, I am here going to start an explanation of few terms which are quite important in explained part. Here you can find on your screen basic terms and definitions. It contains, first is in that point. You can see first one is point. What is point? A point is that which has no component. It is represented by a dot. Mere a dot defines a point. Dear student, if I say this is point A, then it's okay. If I say this is point B, then okay. If I say this is point X, you can see this point is not having any component. Got it, dear? So, mere with the dot we are representing, and we are defining it by different English alphabets. Got it? So this is the definition of point altogether. Got it? Now let's come to the line. What is line? When we join two distinct points, then we get a line. A line has no end points. It can be extended infinitely. My dear student, here I am going to explain you about the line. You know very well the line we can represent through this symbol. You know very well this thing. We join two distinct points. Here what we are doing in that, we are joining two distinct points. Suppose here two dots I have kept, and if I am going to join these two dots, then the distinct point, they get a line, and line is always, remember, they extended infinitely. Reason behind that, it has no end points. Got it? Line with which already the properties attached with that, it has no end points. Got it? And different lines we are defining by line AB, right? Sometimes the same line you can call line L also at the side by side. Suppose I am considering this is also a line, then this can be written as line M. Sometimes suppose I am considering this as a line, then this line and the two different point, if I am putting it on that, that is P point and Q point, with that also I can define. So my dear student, all the way these all the topics which you have studied in previous classes, but very important to clear here, it's a basic concept. So I hope line is clear in your mind. Now let's proceed towards line segment. My dear student, line segment is also well aware you are with this word. It is the part of the line which has two end point. Line segment, you can see line is this much, okay, and some of the part of it I am capturing, that is, suppose I am telling this X point and this Y point. So X and Y, they are the fixed distance, you can see, of the line. This distance from X to Y, it is a fixed distance from the on the line, that is become the part of the line. Agree? If it is become the part of a line, then simple I should say that is the definition of line segment. Clear to you, dear? Now remember please, it has two end points. Line segment, it must have end point, and how many end points? Two end points. Got it? Now let's work out on the ray. The another definition, ray. What is ray? Ray is also a part of the line which has only one end point and has no end on the other side. You know very well, dear student, ray generally we are defining this way. Only one end point you are finding here. Dear, if you are saying this end point is O, you are defining with O, then this ray OA, it can be written as ray OA, okay? But you can't write this ray OA as ray AO, that is wrong. Because reason behind that, the emerging point of the ray is O here. Dear, here it is O, emerging point is O. That is very important to keep it in a mind. So we can't reverse these points, okay? Whatever the emerging point, from there only we can start mentioning the ray. Got it? And according to the given point, you know very well it has only one end point because other side it extend infinitely. So I hope all the definition, point, line segment and ray has been cleared here. So my dear student, after the terms which we have learnt here, let's recall it in how many dimension we can represent those terms, and graphically representation, how it will be look like and how to be symbolized. So in that first one you can see on your screen, that is point. My dear student, point is one zero dimension figure. There isn't any requirement of the dimension to define zero. Got it? And its a graphical representation is only a dot. And we can symbolize here like dot A, that is A symbol, that is point A, point B, point C, along with the proper alphabet. Let's come to the second, that is line segment. My dear student, here line segment you already studied. It must be defined in one dimension. And the graphically representation for this is, here you can see on your screen, that is line segment AB. Got it? And it has two endpoints. Which two endpoints I'm talking about? Point A and point B. And further we can symbolize it as line segment AB. Means you need not have to mention in words line segment. Instead of doing so, you have to mention bar on that. Got it? That is the line segment, not a bar word I should use. That is line segment AB. Got it? Now let's come to the third, that is ray, which we have studied. It must be represented in the one dimension, and it can be graphically symbolized as this form. You can see ray AB, and dear student, please don't forget here emerging point is A. So we can mention it in a ray AB. Here the symbol of ray not clearly visible, so you must put the arrow also, that is arrow AB, that is called ray AB. Got it? Now let's work out on the line. Line is also one dimensional figure. It can be represented graphically this way. This is the symbol for the line. Okay dear, you can symbolize it with line L, line M, line P, line T. Small letters also at the side by side when you find written nearby of the line, then it can also represent through the particular line. Got it? Now it can be defined through this also with the 2 points, that is line AB. You can find both the sides, there are arrow, okay? Both the side in the symbol, this type of symbol is there, line AB. I hope all the symbols, terms which we have used here, along with the graphical presentation and in how many dimensions are needed to represent these terms, that is very easy and clear to you. My dear student, now here the next topic which I have adopted here, that is collinear and non-collinear points. Okay dear, so you can see here points lie on the same line are known as collinear points. Got it? The points which lie on a same line, that you can see here, collinear points. Easy. Here you can find A point, B point and C point. All the way they 3 points lie in a same line. That's why they are called collinear points. Simple. And if they don't lie on the same line, if they don't lie on the same line, then in such a case they are called non-collinear points. Got it? Now suppose I am choosing 3 points here. You can see in the figure point D, point E and point F. Are they lie in a same line? Please confirm. No, dear, they are not lie in a same line. They are forming some another figure. That is, they are. That's why they all are called non-collinear points. Got it? So here is the definition of collinear and non-collinear points. Here. Let's come to the next definition, that is angles. You all are well aware with this word angles. Okay. If you remember nicely, dear student, in our previous classes we have studied when two rays begin from the same end point. If I am choosing one of the ray with this point and another is also with that point, with the same point, if the two rays are emerging, then they are forming an angle. Okay, in such a case they are forming an angle, and dear student, the two rays are the arms of the angle. What we call these two rays, dear, these two rays, they are called the arms of the angle. Got it? And the end point is the vertex of the angle. End point we are considering is for this ray. Suppose I am choosing this ray, its end point will lie here, and for this ray also its end point will lie here. So my dear student, this end point, that is considered as a vertex of that angle. Got it? So we can define this through this. Suppose I am choosing A point here, B point, and this point is C. Then ABC is symbolized an angle ABC, dear. Okay, how to symbolize angle ABC? And sometimes, dear student, you will find mere only angle B also you can write for angle ABC. Whatever the vertex point, that is only and only the angle which we can define or write in two different ways. Either you can write angle B, that is also correct. For the same angle, if you write angle ABC, that is also the same way. Got it? So all the way, this is the definition of angle. So my dear student, here different types of angles. Let's recall which we have studied in our previous classes. So first one among them is acute angle. You can find acute angle on your screen, that is an angle which is between 0 degree and 90 degree. Angle which you can find between 0 and 90 degree, all those angles are called acute angle. You can see dear, acute angle, it's a symbol must be less than 90 degree, means this is, if it is 90 degree, they must indicate less than that angle. Got it? So it's easy. Let's work out on the right angle. My dear student, this right angle, in that angle which is exactly equal to 90 degree. The measurement of the angle exactly 90 degree, not even 89.5 degree, not even 90.5 degree. But if it must be exactly 90 degree, so in such a case, this symbol indicate right angle. And this type of angle, 90 degree angle, we can symbolize. And here, whenever you find this symbol on the figure, on the given figure, then you can consider it as a 90 degree right angle. Okay, though it is not mentioned the angle measurement, but this symbol itself indicate that this is perpendicular to this, that's why they are forming 90 degree. Let's go with the obtuse angle. Very well, you know, an angle which is between 90 and 180 degree. The measurement of an angle which lies between 90 and 180 degree. It means that 90 plus something should be there as an angle and must be less than 180. Maybe 180 or less than 180 degree, sorry. That can be considered as an obtuse angle, and generally obtuse angle can be symbolized with this way. Let's come to the another point, that is reflex angle, an angle which is between 180 and 360 degree. Please remember, dear student, here the angle which is between 180 and 360, that we recall as reflex angle. Suppose I am considering this is straight line, so it indicate 180 degree. Got it? But dear, it is not necessarily this much is portion. If we are considering, then the remaining portion will consider as a reflex angle. Dear students, simply I am telling you, suppose I have one angle here that is 50 degree. Okay, 50 degrees acute angle, all of us know very well. But how to define reflex angle? Dear student, reflex angle means remaining from 360 degree, because complete circle is always of 360 degree. So 360 minus this 50 degree, whatever is left, 310 degree. This angle is called reflex angle. When we studied in chapter 6 about all these things, then you should have good idea about all this definition must be clear in your mind all the way. Got it? Now next is straight angle. Let's work out what is straight angle. An angle which is exactly equal to 180 degree. My dear, an angle when you find exactly 180 degree means just like this in a straight line. Okay, but here one point here at the midpoint, O or a P or something should be there. This is a straight line. When you use your protector, you can see the straight line just nearby the half of the semicircle is indicating 180 degree. Let's come to the last definition, that is complete angle. What is complete angle here? An angle which is exactly 360 degree. The measurement is of 360 degree, that is equal to 360 degree, that is called complete angle. Now dear student, here we can define, this is straight line. Okay, so how to define? Very simple. The full circle, full rotation means coming to the emerging point from where we starting point and ending point should be similar, and making a perfect circle, the full, that is considering 360 degree, and that is completing, that is called complete angle. I hope all the definition related to angle has been cleared now. The another important definition here, we are going to see complementary angles and supplementary angles. My dear student, what is complementary? First, let me clarify you. Here, complementary angles, it means angles, those are which have sum of two angles as 90 degree. Dear student, in complementary angles are those which have the sum of two angles as 90 degree. Means it is, you will find in a pair always. You will find complementary angle or a supplementary angle in a pair. Reason behind that, the sum of both of the angle must be 90 degree. Now suppose I am giving you example. If somebody asks you what is the complementary angle of 40 degree, then of course you will say 50 degree, because you will subtract quickly 90 minus 40, that gives the result 50 degree. So in such a case, complementary angle can be defined by, it is the sum of two angle that is equal to 90 degree. Same procedure we need to apply for supplementary angle. Let's see what is supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are those which have the sum of two angles as 180 degree. Dear student, here supplementary angle also you are finding in a pair. Got it? But the sum of both of the given angles, they must be 180 degree. Let me clarify you through this figure. Suppose I have this way two angles with me, one of this and another is this. Okay, now you can find here they are in 180 degree. It is straight line, it is showing 180 degree. This angle combinedly giving the result 180 degree. So if I am saying this angle, about this angle I am talking, this is 120 degree, then what will be the measurement of this angle? Of course it will be 60 degree. How you got this answer 60? Nothing I have done, only I subtracted 120 from 180. If I subtract 120 from 180, then as a result I will have 60 degree. You know very well dear, this 60 degree is called the supplementary angle of 120 degree. So the definition both of these angles has been clear in your mind now. Now some more angles whose definitions we are going to see here. Dear student, on your screen you are finding adjacent angles. Correct? Which angle? Adjacent. If two angles have the same vertex and their one of them arm is common, then these are called adjacent angle. My dear student, in the figure you can see this is the example of adjacent angle. Here we are given angle A, this is angle B, this is angle C, and this is angle D. If I asked here, this much angle is giving some angle of the measurement, and this angle is also giving some measurement of the angle. But in both of them, something is common you are finding, that is, they are one of the arm. Which I am talking about? The arm which is common in both of them. This is the arm dear. Okay. That is common in both of the angle. Both of which angle I am talking about? This angle and this angle. Right? So my dear student, this arm is common in them. That's why these two angles are, which two angles? This and these two angles, they are called adjacent angles. Got it? Why they are called adjacent angles? Got it? Because reason behind it, these angles are having common arm in that, and even you can find common vertex also. Here is a common vertex also with them. That's why they are adjacent angle. Clear to you? So my dear student, one more angles with which we are going to work out, that is linear pair of angles. So linear pair of angle, how to define this word is not new for you. If two angles have the same vertex and one common arm, here they have same vertex, as similar as here, same vertex. They have common arm also, here also common arm. But what is the difference then? But the arms which are not common are making a line, then these angles are form linear pair of angles. Here it is linear pair of angles. Clear to you? So dear student, here let me clarify you through this example. Suppose I am choosing this line. Okay, let me call this line as a point A, O and B. I am defining this line AOB, and I am choosing here one more ray. Let me call it ray OC. Got it? So if I want to work out and would like to say these two angles, they are forming linear pair dear. Okay, how they are forming linear pair? Because the sum of these two angles you will find always 180 degree, then they are forming linear pair. Okay, how to clarify? Suppose this angle is 110 degree, then if they are forming linear pair, then what will be the measurement of this angle? Of course it will be 180 minus 110, so this angle will be 70 degree. So here 110 and 70 degree, they are forming linear pair. And beside this dear, you can see OC is a common arm between them. Clear? And O is the common vertex. Got it? So I should say angle BOC and angle AOC, they are forming linear pair. Got it? So this is the complete clarification about different types of angles which we have seen here. Okay, so let's proceed towards further more definitions. Right now my dear student, here I am showing you on your screen intersecting line and non-intersecting line. Now what are these lines? So my dear student, here there are two ways to draw the lines. Please keep this in mind. The lines which cross each other, cross indicate what? Intersecting. If the two lines intersect each other or cross each other at a particular point, then they are called intersecting line. The best example of intersecting line given here, you can see here two lines named PQ, line PQ, and another line named RS, which we are given here two lines, and they are intersecting at some point. Here they are intersecting. So, my dear student, these two lines they lie in a same plane. They lie in a same plane, and if they are intersecting, then they are called intersecting line. If they intersect each other or they are in meeting at a particular point to each other, then these lines are called intersecting line. Now let's work out on non-intersecting line. What do you mean by non-intersecting? So let's try to understand the lines which never cross each other. Never cross. Then any point, then they are called non-intersecting lines. These are the lines that is called parallel lines. Dear student, the non-intersecting line itself called parallel lines. Means one thing is very clear, if in any plane there are two lines, okay, two lines lies, then they may have two conditions. First condition is that they may intersect to each other. If not, then it may possible they are parallel to each other, that is not intersecting. Only under two conditions any line can exist in a same plane. Which two conditions I am talking about? Either they are intersecting lines, if not, then they can be parallel lines. Got it? And common length between two lines remains same for the parallel lines. Let me clarify you this sentence. What is the meaning of this sentence? The distance between two parallel lines remains same forever. My dear student, for that the best example is railway track. Okay, you have seen the rails, गाड़ी की पटरियां, railway tracks, they are the best example. They are pure example of parallel lines because the distance between two tracks remains same. So, and one more example you can have for that. You can see the board, whiteboard or a blackboard, that is your board in the school. The opposite side of the board, that is this part, that they are also non-intersecting. They are parallel lines. Got it? The table edges, opposite edges of a table, they are also the best example of parallel lines. Clear to you? Now let me clarify you the concepts of vertically opposite angle theorem. Dear student, this you have studied last year. Vertically opposite angles theorem. The word is not new for you. When two lines intersect each other, suppose two lines here, which two lines I am talking about? Suppose I have line AC, this one of the line, and another line is here BD. AC and BD, they are intersecting at point O. You can see this is their intersecting point. Then the angles so formed will be equal. So which two angles will be equal then? Vertically opposite angles formed by this line. Means which are vertically opposite angle? These two are vertically opposite angles, and of course you can find these two are vertically opposite angles for these two lines. Clear to you, dear? Now please remember this thing here. AC and BD are intersecting each other. That let's confirm these two lines AC and BD, they are intersecting each other. So how many pair of vertically opposite angles can be formed? There are only two pairs, my dear student. Which two pairs I am talking about? Angle AOD and BOC, which already I have marked with the red pen. And another pair which we have here is angle AOC and DOC. AOC, you can see AOC, AOB, sorry, AOB here, and this is DOC. This is another pair. So total two pairs of vertically opposite angles we can find when two lines intersect each other at particular place, at particular point. Now, very important topic, that is parallel lines and the transversal. Dear student, don't miss this topic, very important. If a line passes through two distinct lines and intersect them at distinct point, then this line is called transversal line. Yes student, here you can see line M and L. These are two parallel lines and L is a transversal of these two lines. Clear? Now it is forming 8 angles total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as shown in the figure. Clear to you? So first of all, let's discuss about exterior angles. Okay. See dear student, here angle 1, angle 2, angle 7 and angle 8, they are exterior angle. And what about interior angles? You can see angle 3, 4, 5 and 6. These 4 angles lies inside. Okay, that's why they are forming interior angles. It means that pair of angles formed when a transversal intersect two lines. Okay. Now let's see about alternate interior angles. How could we say? So my dear student, before that I explain you alternate interior angle. As I have told you, alternate interior angle lies to the opposite side of a transversal. Here one pair is angle 4 and angle 6, another pair is angle 3 and angle 5. They are alternate interior angle and their measurement must be similar. Suppose I am telling angle 4 is 20 degree, then in such a case angle 6 will be also 20 degree. Got it? And suppose I am telling angle 3 is 60 degree, then its alternate interior opposite angle is this angle 5, that is also 60 degree. So alternate interior angles, they lies to the opposite side of a transversal line and their measurement should be equal. Now, right now I'm talking about the angles lies on the same side of a transversal. Interior angle lies on the same side of a transversal. They are here angle 4 and angle 5. Dear student, you can find this is the transversal line and 4 and 5 are to the this side and the another side is angle 3 and angle 6. They are called interior angles. Okay, that opposite side of same side of a transversal line. Clear to you? Now one important last point we are coming on, that is co-interior angles. Dear student, co-interior angles are known as allied angle also. Please keep this in mind. Co-interior angles, the sum of two co-interior angle must be 180 degree, means they are supplementary. Such a type of two pairs of angles you are finding. So simply mere I should say angle 4 and angle 5, they are co-interior angles. Angle 4 and 5, this is one of the pair of co-interior angle, and dear student, please remember their sum is always 180 degree. Simple in sentence I should say these two angles are supplementary angles. Okay, because their sum is 180 degree. Now same thing is here, angle 3 plus angle 6, this another pair of co-interior angles, their sum should be also 180 degree. Now if I ask you, if the measurement of this angle 3 is 130 degree, then what will be the measurement of angle 6? Of course it will be 180 minus 130. Got it? You need to subtract 130 from 180. The rest of the means second angle, it's a measurement. This angle will be 50 degree. So finally, we come to know the sum of two co-interior angles must be 180 degree or they are the supplementary. So all the properties related to transversal line I have clarified you here. I hope it's clear to you. So let's come to the important topic, that is angle sum property of a triangle. You already studied about this property in previous class, my dear student. What is angle sum property of a triangle? Each and every one of us know that a triangle is having three angles. Here you can see one triangular figure, and angle A, angle B and angle C. These three angles are there. Now the property says the sum of three angle must be 180 degree. It means angle A plus angle B plus angle C, that is always 180 degree. Their sum always neither less than 180 nor greater than 180, but it must be 180 degree. This property of angle, this property of a triangle is known as angle sum property of a triangle. We are well aware with this property. So dear student, here on your screen you are finding one more triangle. This is the second property which is very important to learn about this property. So my dear student, on your screen you are finding, if we produce any side of a triangle, then the exterior angle formed is equal to the sum of two interior opposite angles. Dear student, this is very important property which we can't miss. The sum of two interior angle, you can find angle A and B, they are interior angle. And what about this C? Angle ACD, this is exterior angle of triangle ABC, because this D is produced by AC. Got it? D is producing some extra angle, that is producing angle BCD, that is called exterior angle. My dear student, the sum of two interior angle of a triangle must be equal to the exterior angle. Got it? Now how to clarify it in this sentence? In the sentence it is already clarified. How to write in symbolized form? Angle BCD, this is you are finding exterior angle. Got it? Now what about angle BAC? You can see here angle BAC, this is one of the interior angle. Agree? Now one more is there, plus angle ABC. I am talking about this angle. These two angles, they are interior angles and their sum must be equal to exterior angle. Suppose I am telling you this angle we are given 120 degree exterior angle, and one of the angle out of these two we are given 60 degree. Then what will be the measure of the remaining one? Of course it will be also 60 degree. What is the reason? Because we know 120 minus 60, that is gives the result 60 degree. Always remember dear student, the sum of two interior angle must be equal to the exterior angle. This is well known property of a triangle which is quite useful to solve many questions.